The letters under the oak tree. In a small town nestled between rolling hills and quiet rivers, there stood an ancient oak tree in the middle of the town square. Locals called it the heart tree because many love stories had begun, or ended, under its wide branches. Emma was a quiet girl who loved books and worked at the town library. Every day, on her lunch break, she would sit under the oak tree and write letters to a man she hadn't met yet. She called him the one and poured her heart into every word, hoping that one day she'd find someone who matched her dreams. She never mailed the letters. Instead, she folded them neatly and placed them inside a wooden box, which she hid in a hollow at the base of the tree. Years passed. Emma grew older, and the box filled with dozens of letters. One day, a young man named Daniel moved into town. He was an artist looking for inspiration and peace after a rough breakup. He found both in the little town and in the oak tree. One rainy afternoon, as he sought shelter under its branches, he discovered the box of letters. At first, he was hesitant to read them, but curiosity got the better of him. As he read through Emma's words, he found pieces of himself in each one. The letters spoke of hope, fear, longing, and a deep belief in love. He was moved, so much so that he began to write back. He returned the next day with his own letter, signed simply "Someone who believes in love too," and placed it in the box. Emma found the letter the following day and was stunned. She didn't know who he was, but the words touched her heart. For weeks, they exchanged letters through the oak tree, never meeting, never revealing their names, letting their hearts speak instead. One evening, Daniel wrote, "If you're ready, I'd like to meet you. Same place, under this tree, Friday at 5 p.m. Emma was terrified and thrilled. That Friday, she stood under the oak tree, hands trembling. Daniel arrived moments later, holding a single sunflower, just like the one she had described in her first letter. Their eyes met, and everything fell into place. Years later, they got married under that very tree. The oak, now even older, stood witness to another story it had helped write. They kept the letters, all of them, in a box in their home, a reminder that sometimes love finds you, even when you're just writing to the wind. The Light Between Two Stars. In the quiet town of Avondale, nestled between rolling hills and fields of lavender, lived a girl named Alara who worked in a small bookstore that smelled of old pages and fresh coffee. Alara loved stories more than anything else in the world, especially stories that spoke of love that defied time, distance, and fate. Every morning, she'd open the shop, stack the books, and watch people pass by the glass window. Her life was peaceful, but she often felt as though someone, was missing. One rainy afternoon, a young man walked into the store, shaking off his umbrella. His name was Theo. He had moved to Avondale from the city, looking for something quieter, something real. He was a writer, and he needed inspiration. The moment he stepped into the bookstore, he saw Alara behind the counter, her nose buried in a book, her hair tied loosely, a small smile playing on her lips. "Any recommendations?" he asked. She looked up, startled but intrigued. "What are you looking for?" "Something that feels like home," he replied. She handed him a worn-out copy of Wuthering Heights, and he smiled. From that day, he came back every week, sometimes to buy a book, sometimes just to talk. And little by little, a friendship bloomed between them. As autumn turned to winter, their connection deepened. They would take walks in the snow, talk about poetry, their childhood dreams, their fears. Alara showed Theo the hidden spots of Avondale, the lake that shimmered under moonlight, the old willow tree where she used to write letters to the universe. One night, under that very tree, Theo confessed, "I think I've been writing my whole life just to find you." Alara didn't reply with words. She simply leaned forward and kissed him, and the whole world seemed to pause. But life, like stories, is rarely without conflict. In the spring, Theo received news that a major publisher in New York wanted to sign him, an opportunity of a lifetime. He was torn. Alara knew it too. She could see it in the way he looked at her, like he was already saying goodbye. "You have to go," she whispered one night, their hands entwined. "You were never meant to stay still. Just promise me something." "Anything," he said. "Promise me you'll write about us." And so, Theo left. Days turned into months, and Alara kept running the bookstore, reading the stories he used to love, wondering if he still thought of her. A year passed. One morning, a package arrived. Inside was a book, freshly printed, with a familiar title, The Light Between Two Stars. The dedication read, "For Alara, the girl who turned my silence into poetry." He had kept his promise. 2 weeks later, he walked into the bookstore again. No words were needed. She ran to him, and in that embrace, every unwritten chapter between them suddenly began.